Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. If you see fit, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. And also, if you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is below in the description box. And also consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I am also a writer working on a book, and I also have two blogging platforms in terms of print. Well, everyone, this is going to be this is a short excerpt from something else. I presented this excerpt in a recent stream, but I thought that it is important enough to present it as a standalone. On a recent, or should I say, during my recent visit to my hometown of Buffalo, New York, I once again interviewed Mother Eva Doyle, who is a Black history icon and a former teacher of mine, going all the way back to K through 12, the very, very early stages. But we talked about Black history and some other things. The entire interview is going to go up over on my original Big Discussions 76 channel. That's going to be about an hour long for those of you who get a little fidgety when things are too long. But in this excerpt, we talk about the actual origins of vaccines and who created the first smallpox vaccine here in the colonial United States. It was a slave named Onesimus. I think I pronounced that correctly. I think in the excerpt I might say Onesimus, or it's Onesimus. And Mother Doyle, in her most recent book, she points this out. And as I was doing the interview with her, and as I was editing the playback of the entire interview, I decided that this was this needed to be a standalone here on this channel. In addition to talking about the current science news of the day and my own educational journey and the educational journeys of other individuals, and just talking about the entire STEM acronym as an African American from this country. I note that we lag behind. That might not be the best way to say it, but we lag behind in the STEMs. And my personal opinion is that there aren't a lot of images of us and our history in the STEMs, the sciences, the technologies, in terms of being innovators and researchers and coming up with new devices and inventions and all kinds of things for society. That's not well known. You have to dig those things up. They're not readily told to us, so it's hard for young people to emulate to be those things because they don't see those things and they don't know the history. And even in my own scientific journey at the University of Michigan, once I got to the graduate school level and the PhD level, I didn't have a firm understanding of our history in the sciences, which is vast. So in any case, I don't want to make this too long, but the following excerpt is from my recent discussion with Mother Eva Doyle. And then the last thing I'll say, and then I'll get to it, I'll get out of the way so you can watch it, is that one of the things that has that stood out to me from this discussion is that there is a long line of African American scientists, or in this instance, an African scientist, an African slave who made a scientific innovation. There's a long line of these people, and oftentimes they've created the innovation, they've created the invention, they've created the cure or whatever, but for whatever reason, someone else comes in and gets the credit and gets wealthy off of it. So I think that that's a a theme throughout history in terms of African and African American scientists and inventors. They come up with these great ideas, but it's someone else who gets the credit and becomes wealthy off of it. In our interview, we also talk about Lewis Latimer. Thomas Edison typically gets the credit for creating the light bulb, but it was Lewis Latimer's contribution that actually carried that project forward to completion. So, with that said, this is the excerpt here, and the entire interview will go up over on my original Big Discussions 76 channel, and I will probably share the link on my community tab here in case anyone here wants to see it who's not subbed over there. So, enjoy.
Heard of. For example, the African origins of the Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
The blacks in the who helped settle the western part of our country. The abolitionist movement, little known names of people who held fugitive slaves to freedom. One of my favorite chapters in this book is about an African slave. Now, today, we all are, when the pandemic was raging and everybody was talking about the vaccines, but people don't realize that it was an African slave who actually came up with the idea of a vaccine. Now, he has a kind of a strange name. I'm going to, I have a chapter in this book on him. The title of the chapter is A Black Slave Helped Save White Colonists with the Smallpox Vaccine. And his name was Onesimus. Onesimus. And he actually was an African slave who belonged to Cotton Mather, who was a well-known Puritan minister. At the time, smallpox was raging in Boston, and hundreds of people were killed by this disease. So Onesimus told Cotton Mather that he knew how to stop people from getting sick and dying. So what he did, he took some of the infected material and injected it into the arms of the sick. His master at first didn't believe it. How does this slave know how to do this? However, it helped to eradicate the disease, and it saved hundreds of people in Boston. Now, what happened was, when the news spread that he knew how to do this, a white colonist named Edward Jenner in 1796 seized upon the idea, and the smallpox vaccination was born. And and since I wrote that, you see, one of the things about writing this column is this. As I'm writing all this information and finding out all this history about African people that we never knew before, I am learning too. And I found an article that says, to this day, the American Medical Association gives credit to this African slave. And I just found this out when I wrote this, when I was writing this book, and I just happened to look up a little more information, and I didn't know that. And I'm hoping that is being shared with the medical students that are coming to medical school to learn. And another chapter that deals with things that we're dealing with today, we're